going to be a Camden County Town Hall meeting at in Winslow, and then we never heard of that Gloucester Township. Why would we have a town hall meeting with the county? I mean, we're not a big part of the county or anything. So apparently these have been happening all over the county, and we weren't aware of it as Camden County residents, but they were in Pennsauken and Somerdale and wherever these other a whole bunch of other towns. So Denise had sent out an email like, "Hey, this is Denise Coyne from Gloucester Township and GT Restore GT." She says this is going on, and I said, "I'll go." She says, "Well, all right, well, let's find out if there's going to be one in Gloucester Township." So she sent an email. Guess what? No response. So we knew, okay, if we're going to go be heard, let's go to the Winslow one. So that was actually last night. We had Assemblyman Moriarty or whatever his name is.
Paul Moriarty.
Yeah, he used to be on the news or something like that back in the days, like a ABC, whatever he is. So he's what's it called? Assemblyman. And then we had Donald Norcross, who's a congressman.
Yep.
And then we had Lou Capelli. I don't know what he is. Camden County.
He's with Camden
Commissioner. Yeah. So we had a county level, a state level, and I guess higher, Congress, level there. So in this town hall meeting, they spent an hour patting themselves on the back, talking about how great of a job they did. Basically, it was not a town hall meeting; it was a campaign for themselves. Is really what it was. But they stated during the beginning of that is part of the reason we're bringing you here is because we know when you go to the town and you ask something and they're like, oh, actually that's a county question, and then you go to the county and the county's like, actually that's a state question. So we got you guys we got everybody here today so we can answer any of your questions. First question comes up is like, I'm sorry, that's a state question and you're gonna have to answer. Like, okay, I understand you're from the commissioner from the county. The state guy's right there. You just told us that that's what this is all about. And then the next person, and they're like, but the odd part was, not only did Denise and I feel that it was our way to go talk to our representatives above the local thing. A third of the people that got in there and were talking weren't from Winslow, but every time that everybody went up, the commissioner Lou Capelli was his answer was, that's a Gloucester Township issue. You're going to have to go talk to Gloucester Township. So they didn't answer any questions at all. But Denise got up there and read a statement. And the one thing you should take note of is everybody that stood up there had a personal problem, right? It was like, I have a problem
because... Crazy neighbor.
Right, my neighbor is this. So listen to the first line of what Denise put out. And this is the same thing, I think, for Joe and I as well. It's not about us. It's about the entire community. You know what I mean? It's not just so. Here, let's play. What is it?
Number 9. Hopefully the audio is good.
Good evening. My name's Denise Coyne. I'm from Gloucester Township, and I'm here representing a group of people, and I have a statement I'd like to read. We want to express our concern about the ongoing violation of citizens' rights to representation and free speech by the Council of Gloucester Township. The Council is routinely canceling workshop meetings, introducing ordinances as last-minute walk-ons, trying to limit free speech by saying political speech is not allowed, refusing to provide clear, concise, and timely answers to citizens' questions, and retaliating against citizens who question them. We have one councilwoman who has shown up for only 17 out of 53 meetings, which is a 32% attendance record. She's collecting 100% of her pay. As residents of Gloucester Township, we believe that it's essential for council members to be accountable to the citizens they serve and for the citizens to have an opportunity to engage in meaningful dialogue with their elected representatives. However, the actions of council are making it increasingly difficult for citizens to have their voices heard and for council members to be held accountable for their decisions. The Constitution gives us the right to question our government, and our government has a legal obligation to be transparent and accountable as a result. If there's no transparency, there's no accountability. If there's no accountability, there's no representation. If there's no representation, there is no democracy. We consent to being governed in exchange for our government protecting our rights. When those who govern no longer keep their part of the deal, they must be removed. We're following the chain of command, so to speak, and we're asking you to investigate these ongoing violations and to take appropriate action to ensure that the rights of the citizens are protected. And I personally would like to know, who do our elected and appointed officials answer to?
The residents.
How?
Through elections and through inquiries, and just like we're doing here tonight, we're responding to you tonight. Your issues in particular with Gloucester Township, I can't really speak to the speech you just gave. I'm not familiar with those issues, but it's certainly a matter that you should take up with the governing body in Gloucester Township.
We've done that, and we never get any help. It doesn't work. So we need to go to the next level, and I'm asking who that is.
It's the elections that they have every year. That's the level. Thank you. Next question, please.
Next question.
Yeah. Let's get off this topic quick because
Who's trained our council people?
yeah.
Yeah, it's it all flows downhill. They work exactly the same way as our council does when they don't have the answers to a question. It's next question. So
Yep. Yeah. So the interesting part about this whole night, right? So this was live streamed. You can go back onto Camden County's Facebook page, and you can see all the past live streams that they did. I told Denise, so we were driving home, I said, get Joe to download that live stream thing because we need that. I had a feeling it was going to disappear. And guess what happened?
it's gone.
It's gone. They took it down off of their page. But we have the entire thing, so we put it up on our YouTube channel. So it didn't go away for good. But yeah, it's
yeah, it happened within a half an hour of me downloading it.
right.
I got it, and then somebody said it's gone, and I said, no way, it's gone.
Yeah.
And I went back, and then I went to the Camden County Facebook page, and it's gone from there.
Wait,
the announcement is there for it, like that it's coming up,
Right.
but the actual video feed that they had, that video is gone too.
Right. They tried to just erase it from history. That didn't happen.
And
Actually it did. We have it.
Yeah, we have it. And then, it's a long video, but I was just looking to see if Camden County government, no, they haven't responded to me yet. I did send a message and ask them why it was gone.
Yeah.
And they haven't responded. But also, Lou Capelli that's there, he is, he's a commissioner. So when we had the issue of Tracy Trotto, who was living in Washington Township, still on council here, and didn't resign until it was brought up. It was brought up in a council meeting.
She was caught basically.
months after she had already moved out.
Right.
Allegedly, I guess we should say.
I think we have proof of that, but okay.
Yeah, a lot of people had proof, but what the point wasn't to get them in trouble for doing that. The point was, when she finally resigned, it allowed them to replace her with someone they chose. They had 30 days from the point that she resigns to do that, and our argument was, look, she moved out 2 months before. Your 30 days is gone. You didn't follow the proper process, so now we should have a special election. And when that didn't happen, on top of the Stubbs thing, with Stubbs not coming to council meetings anymore, there's nobody to reach out to. Council is supposed to be on our side, but they're clearly not. So the next thing to do was, I thought, all right, I'll email the Board of Elections. Mm-hmm. And emailed the Board of Elections, no response. And then I said, all right.
Who's run by Camden County.
Run by Camden County. So then the next thing I did was I emailed the county clerk. Mm-hmm. And no response. And then after that, I emailed the commissioner.
Right.
No response. and it was like commissioner at Camden County. I emailed that, and then from there, I went to the attorney general, state attorney general, and emailed the whole deal. And I didn't get a response there either.
Right. There's no one to ask.
So then I went back. I waited like a week, and I went back, and I emailed them all again, together, and I asked, "Is anybody here?
Do you guys still work there?"
Is anybody going to answer me?" And then I emailed Lou personally, not just to his general thing, but Lou Stoccapelli at Camden County,
Right.
emailed him and said, "Are you still a representative in Camden County?"
Right.
No response. This was months ago. No response. Finally, the attorney general, after 4 emails, said, "Look, you've got to go back to the county or the township and talk this through. This is not something on our level." And then the Board of Elections said, "This isn't an election issue," which it
Right.
technically
It's not anybody's issue. Everybody just passes the buck.
Nobody. So this is exactly what Denise was trying to do, was to go and find out.
Right. Ask the answer. So in our comments in here, Jen for Down, she says it's basically the government goes unchecked, and she's right. There's no oversight committee for this particular thing. Who do we go to? So this makes it abundantly clear we're on our own, guys. This is it. No one's going to fix this for us. We need to fix this if we're going to fix it.
But the one thing that he did say, it's the voters.
Yeah.
It's the voters, and the frustrating part is most of the voters don't understand. They have no idea. They're not involved this deep in the process that we've become. A couple of years ago, I was completely dumb to all of this, and I was just pissed because my tax bill was just going up and up and up and up.
Yeah.
I had no idea what was under the covers there and the mess that everything is, and how blatantly I hate saying corrupt, but I mean it's corrupt. But
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
it's ridiculous. I don't know how to make other people
It's
understand.
in your face, and it's just you're gaslit about everything. It's insane. It's absolutely insane.
It's the same people for a long time now doing their own thing unchecked.
Yeah.
Look, at the very least, if you don't agree with everything, let's just replace them and see what some other people do.
Right. What could be worse? I mean, what could happen?
But for what do we got? 50,000 voters, and how many voted last time?
I don't know, 10,000 people or something.
It was like
that.
10, 12,000. It was ridiculous.
Not enough. That's it.
No, there's no. Look, we're mad at these people because they won't answer our questions, but they already know they don't need to answer our questions because nobody's gonna. Because what do politicians want the most? They want to get reelected.
Yeah.
And they already know they're gonna get reelected.
Yeah.
So there's no fear there. That's the problem. There's no fear that they're
Like as
going to get
Denise
reelected.
says in this thing here, our rights allow us to hold them accountable. They don't want to be accountable, and they are the ones that hold all the power until we go to elections and get rid of them.
Yeah.
But how are we? It's a cycle that we just can't get out of. We can't get out of our own ways. We're allowing them to take our rights away from us. Is what happens.
Yeah. New
Allow us to
Jersey's
rip us off. And,
New Jersey's pretty solid on taking rights away. Which, if you do watch the full video, there was a lot of talk about guns too, which is
Right.
it's a thing. I don't want to say that I'm a huge fanatic of guns,
Right.
But I am a big fan of
Constitution.
the Constitution. Yeah, it is. I don't think it's something that we look. It's been around for a long time now.
Well, and that was one of the things that they brought up was like, we're not trying to take people's right to hunt. It was never written in into the Constitution about hunting. It was put there for a tyrannical government over, so that we don't have to be subject to that, which is exactly what you guys are, what we're asking about is, this here.
When you, I happened to see, I picked my phone up last night because I couldn't make the meeting, and I was listening to that part, and I tuned in right at that point. I got the phone to my ear, and I heard that part about the hunting. I'm like, that's not what it's about at all.
Right.
And it was the question came up. Really, the origin of the question before that was, what are we doing to be prepared with for school shootings, basically. And
Right.
the Norcross, the typical New Jersey answer is basically, we're going to restrict the kind of guns that people can have, or the types. And most of these people, when you listen to them talk, they've got no idea what they're talking about to begin with. But yeah, I thought that was and the blame for all this went back to the NRA. They blamed the NRA.
Yeah.
And if you're a rights person, you just know the NRA is not very good. Like people dump a ton of money into the NRA to protect their rights, and this is where we are in New Jersey.
Right.
You have
Great job.
You have no right to protect yourself. You barely have a right if somebody breaks into your house
Yeah.
to protect yourself in your house.
Yeah.
You pretty much have to prove that you can't retreat. But this crappy clip here from what's it? I forget who it was.
Luke
Capelli,
Capelli, I think.
Yeah.
I think the nation is divided, as the congressman said. I think the citizens are more united than some of the members of Congress who are bought and paid for by the NRA.
Exactly. But
Yeah.
no, that's what. Yeah. So there was a lot of talk of a lot of talk of rights, and there's not enough talk about rights.
Well, yeah.
The
we
rights
could
people-
have this conversation for a long time, but it was just there was a lot that went on there. There was with the whole rights and I don't know.
Like rights in general aren't talked about enough, and when rights come up, that person always seems to be the crazy person.
Right.
When somebody says, "Yeah, my freedom of speech was taken away,"
Right.
or maybe don't force me to get vaccinated to go to
Right.
the grocery store, or
that person's always the crazy person.
or hey, I've got a particular situation where if you're in a bad relationship and you've been threatened, and there was a young woman that died years ago in Berlin. She was stabbed to death in her front yard, and she had applied for firearms, and the process took so long that she never got it.
Right.
So when it just comes down to like
She wasn't even able to protect herself with her, using her rights.
personal protection, and
Yeah.
when people speak up and say, "Hey, my rights are being violated," we gotta stop looking at these people like they're crazy, like they're extremists for some reason, and just go back to, I don't know. Well, my outlook on everything that happens in government is this legal? Is this affecting my rights at this point?
Yeah. I mean, I'm the same way when I look at government, and one of the scenarios that happened last night at that meeting. What's his name? Moriarty. He brought up, and he was saying, we need to make it so that contractors in this state need to have a license, and blah, blah, going on and on about how they need to license things, contractors to be able to do any kind of work, in the state. Which, listen, I understand the reasoning behind that, but his logic was, look, if you want to work in a nail salon, you want to do nails, you want to paint nails, you need to do 1,200 hours of schooling in order to do that. So shouldn't a carpenter have to go through some sort of thing too? And my mind was just blown. I'm like, wait, hold on. You don't see that the 1,200 hours we're requiring somebody to paint nails needs to go through is the excessive part? Not that we need to, like, wait, how are you using that as justification? Like, is that okay? You're okay with that? You're all right with needing to have 1,200 hours of training to paint nails, and then using that to say, yeah, that's what you need to do. What? What are the nails going to do? What?
Well, I didn't realize that was a thing. I didn't realize you had to be that 1,200 hours to paint nails. As soon as you said it, I thought, I hope he's not in favor of this.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, it was nuts. You should be saying we need to get rid of this. Why? This is absolutely insane. But that's what government does. They come in and that's the part of government, like, get out of our way. Like, we don't need you to regulate every single thing that that goes on. We can regulate ourselves to a degree. Like nails, those don't need to be.
Well, people argue with you all day about the licensing process and how it protects you. It doesn't.
It does in some respects, but go ahead.
I've gotten crappy I've gotten crappy work by licensed people.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
And I've had, I've had people come over that are unlicensed and help me with things that are amazing what they do.
Yeah.
It's a money thing.
Yeah.
It's definitely a money thing. If a licensed guy comes over and screws up, you can't sue the government because they licensed that guy.
Right.
So,
Yeah. I mean, so here's a perfect example in Philadelphia, right? In the city of Philly, in food service in general, you need to have something called a ServSafe certificate, right? And I know for a fact that at one point in time, it's probably around 2004ish or so, I was doing a festival there, and they changed their rules, and they said, now not only do you need to have ServSafe, you actually need to have a Philadelphia ServSafe thing. You're like, okay, well, what do I need to do for that? You need to go to ServSafe, take their test, and then show us that you had that, and then we'll issue you a Philadelphia ServSafe one, which is actually, it's going to be $45 for ours. I know you paid for that class already, but you need to have ours in order for it to be valid. If you just show us your ServSafe one, that's not valid. But in order to get ours that is valid, all you need to do is just show us that you have the one that we won't accept. And you're like, wait, why? Why do I need to do this? It's just a cash grab like nobody's business. Then it came into, okay, well, now you have the Philly ServSafe thing, but we need more money, so you know what we're going to do? Now you also need to go get a license from L&I in order to be considered a food service, vendor or whatever, food service person. So any chef, anybody working, whatever it is, retail in a food thing, anything around food, you need to have this whole certification process it already existed, and then they just expanded on it, and it's just an additional, $150, $200 per person to get that. Do you know how much money that generates for the state? Why do they need that? What is it for? You literally
yeah.
But that's just one example. I mean, you can go on and on. We'll be here all day. I don't even.
If you haven't already subscribed and hit the notification bell, we don't go live on schedules because
it's tough to get together.
It's kind of
this isn't our job.
I had to burn vacation days from last year today, so I took off today, and I was like, hey, come over today, and we can do it today, and it was like I
last minute
Keys on his way over. We gotta start pulling clips and writing notes. So, hit the notification bell. That's how you're gonna find out if we are live or not, because it's not on the schedule. Go to restoredgt.com. All the podcast clips are there. Keith's walking through any random park.
Yep.
Talking to police officers, asking them their legal advice.
Well, you're law enforcement. It's a law. You don't know what you're.
Is this a park? I don't know.
All right, folks.
Yeah, do that. Hit all that stuff, and then
we'll see you soon.
Start a campaign to get Denise on the planning board. I had to call that out.